When you get married, you get blessed with a new family. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it's quite difficult. This week, we talk a bit about our journey when it comes to in-laws versus in-laws. Do enjoy, and don't forget to comment.
Hi guys, how are you guys doing? Well, welcome back to Journey with the Mokales. My name is Tinyoko Mokale.
I am Tokoloho Mokale.
Okay. Today we are going to talk about in-laws, right?
Or in-loves.
In-laws or in-loves. Okay. Yeah, whichever one it is for you. Because I think one of the biggest things that we are always talking about, and the biggest thing that women also face more, is the relationship with our mother-in-laws.
Oh, yeah.
And some people have the toughest relationship with our mothers-in-laws. And sometimes it's attributed to you guys.
Yes. It's either you become Makoti and remain Makoti, or you become Makoti and then the daughter.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
So, and that's exactly why we are interviewing you today.
Oh.
Yes. And like, we need to understand this in-law situation.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because I think we must go back to the beginning, how we introduce our significant others to our families.
Yeah.
And that being the very beginning and the base of either a great journey or just a painful journey. And then now I feel like it starts from there.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, and I think maybe what we'll cover is really just a working formula, the best working formula for your in-laws or your in-loves and how we can help each other out. And we're going to give it to Mr. Man here to help us from a guy perspective, because a lot of us peoples are not having a great time with our in-laws. Yeah.
So sorry.
I've got the best mom-in-law, side note.
Please, please.
But we need to talk about this issue because, a lot of people are having a difficult time.
Okay.
So do you want to just, firstly, your perspective around the whole issue? Where do you think we are getting it wrong? Or I
think one of the most important things, especially during dating, is what I say to you about my family. That's the first thing.
That's the first.
Yeah. So because you love me, we're in love. You care about me.
Yeah.
And if at all I keep complaining about this brother of mine, for example, you will develop an attitude. So that's one.
That brother of yours.
So that's one. And that's my responsibility. But on the flip side, if my family looks at me while we're dating and they feel like I'm becoming a better person, then it's points for you even before they see you. So they'll be what's up, or you're so happy, wajola, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So and it even applies even for your family.
Yeah.
Once they see you happy, even before they meet me, they'll really
they'll see that there's somebody there.
This guy, you've got there. This njolo glow, yes.
Attributed to that.
Yeah. So even before we both introduce each other to our families, how our dating impacts the change, the positive or negative change, sort of dictates how they will sort of perceive you before they see you. So this is before I introduce you.
This is dating.
This is during dating.
It's not even as yes. The very, very beginning.
Yeah, because remember, on average, we date for a year and more. So I mean, there's time, and your family will notice that there's somebody occupying your time, and you either come back happy, or you come back sad, most of the time. And they will attribute that to whomever they assume you spend time with, who is at the time your unknown boyfriend or girlfriend, So it's that impact that we have on each other whilst dating.
Yeah.
So it sort of sets the tone
of the journey,
of how they will receive you.
Right?
Yeah. So, for example, once we start dating, if maybe I'm working And there's been this thing I've been doing at home. Every month I'll buy my mom groceries and whatnot. And when we start dating, you know, we start changing that. You can imagine how my mom will feel about you even before she meets you. Right?
But now, a question.
Yeah.
So now you've done this great thing. You're buying groceries. You're going with your significant other to buy groceries. And then we get married.
Yeah.
And then Hausa is a grocer.
Problem there.
And that is because maybe you've decided it.
Yeah.
And it's not something that is coming from me. But you know that it's going to be attributed to me that Wanaka Hazard is a grocer. So how do we sort out that? Is it a conversation that we leave to you to handle? Or is it something that, or I don't know, maybe help me. Because I get it, we've spoken about what happens from the dating in the beginning, the introduction thereof of me and your family, whatever the case is, and therefore things are going great, blah, blah, blah. That's good. So now we get married. And things change because me and you have different needs in marriage.
Yeah,
we've got kids.
Buy a house.
We buy a house. There's a lot more responsibilities. Yeah. What is going to help? Because I believe there's a change management that needs to happen.
For sure. For
the
everybody.
Conversation for everybody that needs to happen. So who is key in making sure that your family, my in-laws, are aware of that change, you know? Yeah. And how do we make sure that we bring them on the journey? Because sometimes the mistake that we make is that we leave them there assuming that they understand.
Yes.
Whereas we played a great deal in elevating whatever stress, financial stress or whatever the case is in this time. And that gap then creates that assumption, miscommunication, etc., fights, and so forth.
It's my responsibility to make my family understand the circumstances that we are facing at a certain point in time. And it is on their part being mature and loving and understanding in saying, okay, no, we understand. Actually, no, you know what? Let's help you with 1, 2, 3. It all depends on proper communication because I believe they really want the best for us.
Yeah.
And it's in how we handle communication across the board that really determines. Because if we are quiet, the assumption is that our son can't even do 1, 2, 3 for us because the witch is you know so we are responsible for how our families treat our wives as much as you're responsible for how your family treats me.
And
because
when
it's just like in the beginning when I said to you,
I wanted to go there.
When I said to you, what did I say to you? When I said that how they think, what we say about people sort of becomes embedded on their memory. So even you, what you say about me with your family is how they'll always see me.
And know? Actually, and let's talk about how you were introduced into my family. So with my sisters didn't know that we were dating, right? Yeah.
This one.
So they knew there was a guy, right? And it was really, really bad with disclosure, right? They knew that there was this guy, wasn't 13, that has come through from church, but they only properly sort of met you on my 25th birthday.
And it was Mr. Party.
Oh my God, they're probably laughing at this. But what I'm saying is that they met you like that, and because they're so loving and kind and chilled, they asked the questions, and then eventually they got to know you, which is great, right? And in terms of my dad, I sort of set up my dad to meet you because I didn't know how else to do it.
So you sent me into the lion's den.
Yeah, I sort of sent you to the lion's den. I was busy at a church event at that time.
Yeah.
When I said, please go fetch the banners at home.
Dude.
And my dad was there. That was the only way that you guys could meet without me being there, and to meet the way I sort of wanted you guys to meet. But years later, time goes on. The type of relationship you have, Le Papa, is what is it attributed to with the journey that you have traveled? With my family, with my dad, sisters, family, and so forth and so forth.
It's
what do you think has worked well?
The base of our relationship with your dad is your relationship with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the base. So it comes from you telling me about him first,
and then what and have then you
that informed how I engage him.
Yeah.
Right. So and then between the two of us is really about mutual respect. You know, your dad respects my space, I respect his space. Yeah, we get along together very well.
I think when you say that, you know how much I love him,
yes,
and where I place him in my life, and therefore you have sort of followed that.
I follow your lead
from me,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And the same is what I've sort of learned about your family, and where you place. So, quick fun fact: when we're organizing our wedding, right? Mr. Man's family is quite huge compared to my family, right? And he spends most of his time, or I came to understand that he spent most of his time with his family and as his friends than he does with his real friends. So when we had to do our list, he had to sacrifice some of his friends from the venue wedding part, where he put in most of his, because his family goes from Lesotho, Botswana, you can imagine.
Provinces.
So that's what I'm saying. I learned the value of family through you and how you attribute your family. And that's why I think I get extremely excited every single time there's a family thing on your end. And I'll go in with so much energy because he taught me.
Yeah.
He taught me where family lies with you. Yeah. And I think that then helped us to understand on both our ends how we sort of have that working formula. Because when we got married, you know, when you get married as a new wife, you don't go to your family as much, or whatever the case is, or you spend more time with your new family, your husband's family, and I think that's not the case with us. We have sort of created a working formula.
Yeah, we struck a balance.
We struck a balance between the two. Yeah. We'll go home and say, okay, where are we starting?
Also, you're fortunate because we live, your family is zone 12, mine is zone 13. Let's why did you call yourself Ngwana Zone 12?
Ngwana Zone 12.
That's right. What Hollywood?
So yeah, I think that has worked in our favor. But I think we must not forget to actually sort of help those that are going through a tough time with their mothers-in-law. And I also want to, maybe you can come in.
Yeah.
And I need to understand why young wives having a tough time with mothers-in-laws. What is the problem? What do you think is the biggest problem? Is it because of how they were treated? Is it a generational problem of how they were treated, and thus they feel this is how you should treat your mom-in-law, or treat your daughter-in-law? Is it because of how they were treated? Because an example of my mom-in-law is that she wasn't treated as greatly as she would want to be treated going into marriage, right? And it's something that she's shared with me and my sisters-in-law, you know, and she's done differently, quite differently, and continuously expressed, Hore, you are my children, you are not Dingweti, Ngweti being
daughter-in-law.
Daughter-in-law. You're essentially you all are all my daughters, and that's how I'm gonna treat you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like that in this family. You are all my children, and thus treating us the same, and probably being harder on them than she is on us, because of how she was treated when she went into marriage. But we're finding that a lot of our friends, or you hear this whole thing, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, being such a issue amongst young married women. And why is that? Why is that? Is it something that...
I think there's quite a few, and this probably might not answer the whole thing, but
the whole problem.
Yeah, I think one, yes, you're right. It might be the only way they know how to treat a daughter-in-law, because they may have been treated like that. They may have seen their mothers being treated like that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe in essence, they toughen you up or whatever. But I think...
Where does the men's role play?
That's where I'm going.
Okay.
I think on the flip side, how the honesty in your husband, especially regarding the decisions that the both of us make, how you deliver them to your family, making those changes, how you invite your family into the changes that you guys make, that eventually affect whether or not you contribute, or your availability at certain, how you handle that determines how the poor girl is going to be treated. Because if whatever change that's going to happen in your life when you get married is going to be attributed to your partner, right? So if you stop going to funerals and gatherings and what, they say, since Anyala, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if I don't convey the message to my family that I decided that we are not going there.
So it takes that level of authority and leadership from you to say, this is how my family...
Yes, this is a decision I am making. And in certain instances where you find the wife being treated unfairly, it is on the husband to stand up for the wife. Because when all is said and done, trust me, if you think you only have your wife and your kids, when all is said and done, your sister who's mistreating your wife, who's going to get married and be called Kambule and will not be Mokale anymore. She's going to be moving to her own family away, and your mom is going to pass away one day. You'll be left with your wife and children. And you don't want to leave those scars, because those scars hardly ever heal.
So you need to prioritize
your family. And that's the oath. That's the promise you made in front of God. And so I think it's about being true to your promise. Yes, and take ownership of that. I think,
and standing up for your family.
Yeah, we mustn't try to be too nice to our families at the expense of our wives and kids, essentially. True. And such things. That's why, the effect of this thing is so long that it goes down to your kids. Your kids, our kids will not know their father's family because of the scars you have every time. Maybe even when I die, they suddenly, don't see grandmommy and granddaddy.
Yeah, to close off, one of the advice I got from my spiritual mother around a difficult mom-in-law, is that you both cannot be like shooting fire. There needs to be one that will go down. As hurtful as sometimes or toxic of a relationship, there needs to be one that will, ayafati. And to try and make sure and mend the relationship. And sometimes you have to start again and do things and try to see what does my mother-in-law actually like to do, and how can I sort of mend the relationship and do some of the thoughtful things just to show her, I'm not coming here to take your son away from you. I'm coming here just to to bring light.
Yeah.
And when I say that, I remember the words that my friend used to say. Okay, you must remember the role that you are playing now when you go into a new family. You should be going to bring light, not to bring darkness, not to bring any pain or be part of the pain or part of the problem. If there is any situation happening, then you must remember, when your husband chose you, he saw something in you to bring into his family.
Yeah.
And therefore, you need to then remember what your position is. And if, be it, you have a difficult mother-in-law, whatever the case is, you must then remember your position and come in there. Even if you do small gestures like coming in, or, I'm just here to cook for you, or I'm just here to clean the house for you. You're not asking for anything, so that she sees that you're only here to be her daughter, or whatever the case is, and not to fuel any fire.
Yeah, and sometimes it is important for us to really understand that sometimes this being difficult comes from a place of love. It might be that when the poor lady looks at you, they sort of would like to be assured that you will do what is right by their son. So it's really your responsibility as well to sort of get to understand the relationship between the mother and the son and see where you fit in. Because there is a place for you. And that's why you're chosen by this guy.
And you can't put him in a position
to choose. Don't do that, no.
Yeah, no.
There's no sides here to be chosen.
At all. So, we could talk the whole day.
Yes.
I think we're going to cut it there. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
I think I pointed at the wrong subscription site the last time. But thank you for...
I think it's the site.
Hi, baby. And I don't know
It is here. Please subscribe. Share with your friends. Comment. And we really appreciate you guys. Yes. Thank you for the wonderful comments.
Yes.
Side note, every time the volume seems to be low, it's because the kids are sleeping. So sorry. We will get better. Thank you. We love you so much.
Bye.